Hello, and welcome to the Nights in the Nightmare Let's Play. This is video 42, covering scene 37. Last time, we fought some random monsters and killed them off, and then continued onward. We saw a cutscene in which Aldri was limping along but pushing her way forward towards the Tiamat's area. Behind her is of course Yelma, hot on her heels, and then of course behind Yelma is us. We're all in pursuit of the king's corpse. However, we keep getting slowed down by random encounters with monsters. And in fact, we have some more to deal with right now. So let's clean them up and keep moving. Here's the map for this round. We have fewer enemies this time, and that's always nice. A little breather, I guess. Werner, that warrior I just tapped, I pulled him out and I am moving him to the empty slot in the lower left. Then with that empty slot I just created, I'm going to throw in Alonso, one of our permanent Lance Knights. Alonso's job is going to be to move towards that box and rubble in the corner there, so we can get the key items out. Speaking of key items, Werner, the warrior, has a friend's note. And Grimoire the wizard has coffee beans. So we'll deliver those two key items to those guys and get them recruited this round. That leaves 2 spots in the inventory for weapons. So I throw on a Darkness Lance for Alonso because he has a Sanctity monster right next to him. And then an Ice Axe for Werner because he's in the vicinity of a fire enemy. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's give it a try.
Engage.
First off, Werner looks like a baby, doesn't he? Anyway, Salada is an NPC we saw at Fort Gerhard on stage 11. She's a merchant and she pressures him into buying stuff. That's why he was tense. Monk is a farming NPC we found in stage 5 near Regniberg. Apparently him and Werner are buddies.
I will show no mercy.
Grimwad's referring to an NPC we saw in stage 15, I think. Alright, we delivered some beans to Grimwad, so it sounds like a cup of joe and then he's recruited. Let's move Alonso into position, but I also want to take advantage of his Darkness Lance by hitting that Sanctity monster once it gets into range. So hurry up, buddy. There we go. Alright, Alonso's in position, and he also killed that spider, so that worked out pretty good. Let's start beating on that box and the rock there. Alright, 2 items popped out. Good job, Alonso. We have one last magic point, so let's try and kill this red guy. And I wasn't able to jam him. Unfortunately, you always have the option of just dodging his attack too. So I'm waiting for that red guy to get in range, but also when Werner swings, he's also going to beat on those rocks and work on getting that key item out. Okay, we have no more magic points, so I'm forced to farm for gems now. With 0.76 seconds left, there's not enough time to do anything. Okay, got 2 key items, not bad. I'm happy with that. Werner, you've been recruited. I'm going to pull you out and put in Fritz, one of our permanent warriors. Alonso did a good job. He did exactly what I wanted him to, but he served his purpose. So I pull him out and throw in Johan, our other permanent warrior. As for Grimwad, I'm going to pull him out and throw in Dreas, one of our permanent archers. Dreas is in a good spot to farm gems. I'm going to take advantage of that this round. 2 more key items for the NPCs, so let's load them up, then we'll be done with delivering stuff. Since Alonzo's not on the field anymore, we certainly don't need his lance, do we? So I go ahead and pull it out, and I throw in another axe for the warriors. There we go. Finally, I settle on that one. So a darkness weapon and an ice weapon for the warriors. No weapon for Dreas, but like I said, he'll be able to farm gems, and that'll be what he does for this round.
Engage! Item gotten.
Lamone here is referring to Latoon, who was an NPC a couple stages ago. I thought Latoon was a woman, actually, so shows what I know. Lamone, of course, not the first dead child we've seen, huh? Alright, Johan's gonna start pounding on that Sanctity spider nearby. And it works out pretty good because when he swings in that direction, he's also pounding on those rocks that contain a key item. And next with Johan, I go ahead and clear out the objects that we've broken open. There's not really a reason to. They don't respawn with key items, but I wanted to clean up the field a bit. We have no more key items again, though, so I'm going to use Dreas to get some... excuse me, no more magic points, so I'm going to use Dreas to farm some gems. That blow, Fritz killed the red guy, but he also got the key item to pop out. And again, the round ends with us not able to get a full charge off. But we did get the key item, and that's good. That's all the key items for this map. You may have noticed there's a big egg on the field, but it only holds a weapon, so it's going to be lower priority for sure. Okay, let's do one last check for key items. I'm paranoid I'm going to forget to deliver one at one point. Okay, looks good. So now we have 4 slots for weapons on our inventory. I go ahead and throw on a bow for Dreas, an ice bow, since he's near a fire enemy. Then I go ahead and switch out a axe for a fire axe, so that the warriors can pound on that ice guy that flies around. Let's see, I do have an extra slot in inventory that I should have taken advantage of, but I didn't think of it at this time.
Engage.
Johan begins the round going for that Sanctity spider. That's a pretty reliable kill. Alright, he killed the spider, and then also that red flying eyeball guy's only got a sliver of health if you look at the bottom. So that guy's on borrowed time.
You're gonna get it. It's my
Waiting for the blue guy to get in range. There we go.
The enemy's hurt. This is it. It's my turn, eh? Maximum range. Break out.
Blue guy's down and red guy's just hanging on by a hair's breadth. But I have no more magic points once again. So let's farm some gems real quick like.
It worked. Ready. It worked. Ready. Break out. I will corrupt.
Alright, good riddance. Just a matter of getting kills now. With that final slot in our inventory, I go ahead and throw a fire bow for Dreas. And I take a moment to look at the possible rush effects that are in play here. I'm not going to actually go for any of them intentionally, but it's kind of neat to see, yeah, there's at any moment anything could happen, huh? I think we're pretty much set here for pretty much any possibility here, any eventuality we've got covered.
Engage.
Fortunately, there's a ice-based sword monster there, but he's out of Dreas' range.
Break out. Set my enemy
So instead I fire and hit the egg.
It worked. You're gonna get it. Break out. Set my enemy ablaze. It worked. Break out. Suffer an icy death. It worked.
One of the key attributes of an archer's attack is that once you let go and they start attacking, any enemies in range are locked down so they can't wander out of the range of the attack. It's really nice. There, the sword guy in the corner is stunned, and what happened was Dreas landed a law phase attack on him, but it actually hit the sword guy right when he was doing his move, which is also a teleport. So the sword guy completed his attack and then landed on that upper spot, and that's when he got stunned. So we weren't able to take advantage of it, but at least it kept him out of the action for a little bit.
Break out. Suffer an icy death. Away.
With that, the egg is busted, and oh no, it's wiggling. And to nobody's surprise, a monster pops out. So that Lamina that popped out is a bonus monster. She doesn't contribute to the monster matrix, she's just there to get in the way and annoy me.
Ready. Break out. Suffer an icy death. It worked. Break out. Suffer an icy death. Kill out. Break out. Set my enemy ablaze.
Finally, we got that sword monster.
Ready. Break out. I will.
Not enough time to complete the charge. We weren't able to kill that spider, but Dreas did some serious work. I would give that round to Dreas for sure. Alright, looks like we have a couple final monsters to draw from, so let's get them on the field and kick their asses. we have a good setup here. I'm pretty happy with the way our weapons and knights are situated. So let's just put an end to this.
Engage! Ready! Break out! I will crush. It worked! Effective enabled. Good sign.
And, ooh, look at that. Warriors charge instantly.
Break out!
Let's take advantage of that.
Enemy see my break out! Set my enemy it worked!
Alright, that was fun. Warriors are among the slowest knights to charge, so it's kind of crazy to have them charge instantly.
It worked!
Oh, the fucking eyeball guy got me with his controls are reversed move. So now everything is backwards,
See death.
and I'm just sweating bullets because it takes all my focus just to steer around. I failed to interrupt that dragon, so now he's going to launch those giant fireballs.
It worked!
There they are. He's on death's door though, so we should be able to finish him off pretty quick.
Suffer an icy death.
There we go. What an asshole. Alright, good job, guys. Here at the inventory screen, we had some unpleasantness to deal with. We still have some knights that are getting low on vitality, and of course the best way to fix that is Transol. So I went through the roster and made some decisions. First up, Gudrun, one of our permanent Lance Knights. Gudrun's come a long way. We recruited her at level 1, and all she would do was talk about cheese at the time. However, we dumped a lot of experience into her, and she leveled up pretty nicely. Now, however, she's down to 9.85 vitality, which is a little too low for my liking. So I went through the roster, and I found Baltar the Wizard. Now, Baltar is actually Gudrun's superior, and he treats her like a daughter. In fact, some of the other knights were under the impression that she was his daughter, so they're certainly close, which of course made it a good match. We can see here that Gudrun stands to gain a shitload of vitality. Our Law Index will go up, and our Chaos Index will go up quite a bit too. So this is just too good to pass up. Of course I jumped on it. Baltar expressing some kind of remorse for apparently not being there for Gudrun or providing for her or whatever. And Gudrun's reaction is, oh shit, no, I didn't want this, not like this. Well, it's a done deal, and as a result, she gained 25 vitality. That's insane. That's unheard of. I couldn't believe that. Law Index went up by 2, and Chaos Index went up by 19, so this is a really solid transfer. We had to do it. It just made too much sense. Next, I turned to Liz, one of our permanent priestesses. Liz is a pretty good fighter in her own right, but her vitality is now down to 8.73. Fortunately, Grimwad, the wizard we just recruited, had a special relationship with Liz. I'm not trying to imply that they are romantically involved or anything, but they are at least buddies. And as we can see here, Liz will gain a fair bit of vitality, and then her Law Index and Chaos Index will both go up. Liz has a pretty strong Law Index as it is now, but certainly I'll take more. So I went through with it, Grimwad saying, you'll be okay without me, I know it. And Liz saying, well, I guess I'll use your soul's power. And we can see that she went up vitality-wise by 12.65. That's very good. Law Index went up by 3. That's nice. And Chaos Index went up by 2. So, all in all, another solid Transol. Then, then we went to the bad one. So Johann, we just finished using him in battle. Of course, one of our permanent warriors. His vitality is all the way down to 5.9. That's really low. He's about to start flickering, actually. So, yep, I needed to do something. I went through the list, and he doesn't have any close friends in the roster right now. However, Sarland, a hermit we recruited, she seems like a pretty good matchup. His vitality goes up by quite a bit, and his Law Index goes down a little bit, and Chaos Index goes up a lot. Well, Law Index kind of hurts. I hate to lose that. But Johann's sitting on a pretty halfway decent Law Index anyway. It's at 80. 80 out of 100. So we'll take a slight blow, and that stings a little bit, but I'll get over it. The gains are going to certainly outweigh that. So, I went ahead and hit OK, let's do this. To my horror, Starland replied with, I'm not doing this, never. Well, I mean, sorry, Starland, but at this point you don't have a choice. I can't back out. You're doing it. So she got transoled into Johann. Johann's response is, I don't know if I'm the right choice, but I accept. So, yeah, probably the worst transol we've done so far, at least in terms of willingness. But King Wilmgard does not give a shit. If he wants you to transol, you're going to transol. As we can see, Johann's vitality went up by 11.5, so not too bad. Law Index went down by 4. That does sting, but I'm over it. Chaos Index goes up by 9, and I will never say no to a better Chaos Index for a warrior. So, yeah. I feel pretty crappy. I feel kind of shitty for doing that to Sarland, but it's done. Afterwards, I went ahead and leveled up a couple knights. I had actually transoled to Dreas last time, but then I failed to level him up after his level cap went up. So I went ahead and dumped some experience points into him. He's now level 30, which is still fairly low, all things considered, but it's still an improvement. Johann was leveled up to 43 from that transol, but his cap went up to 46. So I went ahead and topped him off there too. And with that, I didn't have any more fight left in me. I just wanted to move on, so that's what we're going to do. And that brings us to the next stage. It looks like Peach is going to be a boss fight next time. Now, no one wants to see Peach die, she doesn't deserve it, but she is in our way. And as we know from example, if you're in our way, you get fucking steamrolled. No exceptions. Before we get into that though, I have a few things I want to discuss. First off, I did want to indulge a little bit on something we saw during the last fight scene. There was an NPC we talked to, Roberta, who mentioned that she saw a pharmacist named Yantana and was told that they could only slow the illness. Well, we have seen Yantana before. She was an NPC during Stage 9, which was in Regniberg, the capital of the kingdom. When we did the pause talk with Yantana, she mentioned cough medicine is selling, I hope it's not a plague, and then her key item was a mortar. Looks like there's a pestle there as well. So, okay, you know what, I'm sold, yep, I believe it, she is a pharmacist, I get it. At any rate, when we give Roberta her key item, it was powdered herbs, and she mentioned she got medicine from a strange traveling doctor. And then that's pretty much all we know. However, because of the details they put into this world, I think there's a little story there, if you're willing to piece it together. So we know that Roberta was given a terminal disease. I want to point out that she's in the western area, because that's where we are right now. So she's out in the boonies, and she made a pilgrimage. She traveled to the capital of the kingdom to speak with Yantana the pharmacist, and was given bad news. We can't cure it, we can only slow it down. Then she presumably returned home, I'm sure with a heavy heart, and then ran into a strange traveling doctor, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say that guy sounds like a snake oil salesman. I could be wrong, but the fact that she mentions a strange traveling doctor, but there's no name associated with him, that implies to me that we're never going to see him. He's got away scot-free. At any rate, so she comes back and she sees this strange traveling doctor and buys into this powdered herbs. And of course, then she's killed by monsters. So she doesn't die from her sickness, she is killed by monsters. but at the time of her death, these powdered herbs were very important to her, so she put all of her faith into this snake oil. Now, like I said, that's conjecture. I don't know for a fact that's what's going on, but it seems likely to me. And it's really cool that there's these little micro dramas in the game, if you're willing to piece together everything. Anyway, enough of that. As for the flashback, we saw Peach, and she actually did kill Werner and Grimwad, so she does have blood on her hands. Of course, she's a wild animal, she can't control her actions, but I don't think I would consider her guilty of murder or anything like that. Once Werner and Grimwad fell, then Frabella ran up and said, "Oh shit, let's go." Well, if we go to the next scene, we see, there's a Duelist Weekend recruit, and sure enough, it's Frabella. So she meets her end as well. And though it's not shown, I think we can assume that it was at the hands of Peach. Well, we have seen Frabella before. There was a flashback set 3 nights after the tragedy of Aventium Castle, which, all things considered, is actually halfway recent. At any rate, at the route to Aventium, so the road leading right up to the castle, so dead center of the map, Frabella is shown exiting, and Oswald runs up and says, "Wait, where are you going?" Frabella is the leader of the 10th Order of Knights, and so she's actually a superior to Oswald here. Anyway, she responds, "Well, I'm going to follow Algery in the Western Land." This was an order from the Cardinal, and the reason why she has to go is because Algery is suspected of being a spy sent to infiltrate us. This was the first time we had actually heard this, and as it turns out, we have received more evidence that implies it's probably true. Yes, Algery probably is a spy. But at the time, this was earth-shattering. Frabella didn't believe it, etc., etc. So, the point I'm trying to make is Frabella was given a mission, go west and follow Algery, and I imagine that's why Grimwad and Werner were out there as well. But none of them came home. They all died at the hands of Peach. Moving on, in the present time cutscene, we saw the little jester girl dragging the casket, which I'm sure contains the corpse of the king. Last time this girl was on screen, I called her Sakchito, but it was mentioned in the thread that the actual pronunciation is Sakito, which I would have never got that in a million years, so thanks Ostriker for pointing that out. At any rate, Sakito is clearly out of breath and trying to drag this casket that's bigger than she is, presumably off to the Tiamats. We know she's loyal to Princess Alier, so I'm sure that's where she's going with it. During the narration for the scene, I wanted to point something out that gives me a chuckle. But you may have noticed during this narration, when the text scrolls and the knight's banners are displayed, there's a song that plays. And the song's, I don't know, let's say 20 seconds. But the song plays the whole thing from front to end. And so the text has to kind of space itself out so that it lasts the duration of the song. So sometimes you get situations where, like in this most recent one, where it's the song is playing and the text is, before Yelma found them, the ones in possession of the king's body were the last of the warriors. Anyway, I notice that every time it happens and it cracks me up. At any rate, what I wanted to point out was they mentioned the puppet maiden carried the fate of an entire race on her shoulders as she hurried back to her master. Now, when I first played this, that phrase threw me for a loop, and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? The only thing I could come up with was, I guess they mean Algery, because Yelma was controlling her for a while, so she was kind of a puppet, I guess? But no, that's wrong, I'm a dumbass. As it turns out, Sakito here, and I'm reading from the Tome of Lost Souls, Sakito is a doll given artificial life to protect the Tiamat Sanctuary's barrier. She's not a true Tiamat, she's a doll given artificial life. Now, for intents and purposes, she's treated as though she's a character or a living, breathing person, and so I think that's how we're supposed to interpret that. But for your knowledge, yes, she is the puppet that they're talking about. At any rate, she mentions I'm being followed. So she has that ability, that Dragon Ball Z ability to sense pulses that we've seen in Maria and Yelma. Apparently she has it as well. And she's aware that it's two different people following her. Now, of course, that's Yelma and Us the Wisp. However, she knows she has to honor the sacrifices of those who helped her. And that what she means by that is, we saw the deployment of the last of the Tiamat troops who were with Sakito. Apparently something went down because we saw a bunch of dead Tiamats when Yelma discovered the body was missing. So at the cost of a lot of Tiamat lives, Sakito got this corpse, and now she's dragging it off to Allier, so she's trying to hurry up. And then finally, the last thing we see is us face to face with Peach. And that brings us to where we are now. Like I said, we're going to kill Peach. I don't know if the right word to use is ironic or maybe poetic is a little closer. But she's been transformed into a wild animal. She has killed some knights, and now we're going to kill her. Same fate as her fiance and the Wisp's son, Prince Nordich. He was turned into a monster, a werewolf, and he killed some knights, and then we killed him. So, it's too bad. This is par for the course. If we were Batman, we would probably incapacitate her and take her to the Batcave and find a cure. But we're not Batman, we're King Wilmgard. We're gonna fucking kill her. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.